Hey, thanks for tuning in to NAVSTAR. Today we are reviewing the Avios Supermarine Spitfire by Hobbyking. This is an amazing warbird. Hang on, this is going to be a lot of fun. This honey features 1450 millimeter wingspan, 57 inches, made of EPO foam, has some very solid retractable landing gear, split flaps, LED navigation lights, and some really cool scale details that are perfectly suited for FPV, and we're going to get into that. This is a high-performance 6S brushless motor, largely plug and fly, and it's highly detailed Battle of Britain version. So I think you'll find out that this plane is very well appointed for you scale buffs. Let's get into the history of the Supermarine Spitfire, one of the most iconic fighter planes in history. It was designed by Reginald Mitchell in the 1930s as a response to Britain's need for high-performance interceptors. Drawing from its experience in World War I aircraft design, Mitchell created a sleek elliptical wing monoplane powered by the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. It took its first maiden flight in March 5, 1936, and entered RAF service during 1938. During World War II, the Spitfire became legendary in the Battle of Britain in 1940, where its speed, agility, and firepower helped repel the Luftwaffe's attack, saving the UK from invasion. Over time, it evolved through 24 marks with upgrades like more powerful engines, clipped wings for low-altitude performance, and heavier armaments. This adapted it for roles from air superiority to ground attack. By war's end, over 20,000 Spitfires were built, serving in theaters worldwide. Post-war, the Spitfire influenced aviation design and remains a symbol of British resilience, with many preserved in museums today. All right, let's get on with that Maiden. It was windy, and we managed to take off, just turned into the wind and went, and she wanted to fly. Those elliptical wings are really incredible. Her basic characteristics are such that she flies really well. I mean, this is across the board reported as a great flying aircraft, and right out of the box, I had no trouble. Yeah, again, those elliptical wings seem to be a key component in its flyability, and it did not disappoint. So just a few adjustments, and we were right into it. And despite the very gusty winds, which were perpendicular to the runway, we were able to pull it off and get into the air. I was able to get my son to do some filming, so that's great. I didn't have to worry about that aspect of it. He did a great job. And, you know, I found that this plane can be as gentle or as aggressive as you want. But what a great profile in the sky, huh? It really is beautiful. Hobbyking did a great job with this plane. And I know it's a re-release, but and having not flown this one before, I can only say that I love it. I mean, look at that. I mean, she just handles beautifully. Certainly, you know, it didn't hurt having that gusty wind helping me pull out of a loop like that, but her handling was second to none, and her speed is top-notch. Running on the 6S, we had about a 3-minute flight here. I think I only used about 40% of the battery. We'll get into that in a minute, but she is a warbird, and warbirds have a lot of power, and I haven't had great luck with them. But in this case, she was very kind. I didn't really experience any torque rolling. What little there was compensated for. And check out the crab on this one.
This is going to be fun.
There you go. She did all right on that grass landing.
Yes!
I wasn't so lucky in future landings. But that was fun. I really enjoyed that one. So let's talk about the FPV stuff, shall we? This is a DJI 04 Lite unit, which is the smallest one they have. This is a 3D printed pilot that I hollowed out and modified. And this is the cooling unit on top of the VTX unit, so it can keep it cool and it doesn't trip out. Here's a little shot of this panning of the head and the final installation. Kind of cool. I'll put some links down below if you want to do the same. So, just prior to putting the pilot in, I did do a flight with the Instago 360 camera. You'll notice that the reticle is very opaque, and I ended up changing that gun sight to a clear piece of plastic, which made a big difference. We'll see that in a second. And on the front of the canopy, there is a removable piece to presumably for cooling and visibility. But regarding visibility, you'll see that the cockpit glass is really quite cloudy, and I did my best to clean that up and use a lighter to clear it, but it could need a little bit more work here in subsequent flights. But nonetheless, you definitely have to make that better for FPV if you choose to do that. So that was a test flight, and here we are with the new gun sight and the pilot installed. Pretty cool. His field of view is limited by the length of the cable from the VTX unit to the camera, so I had to kind of limit the direction he could turn left and right, but nonetheless it worked really well. I would like to get a actual pan and tilt head unit, so if I have someone to dogfight with, that can give me a more realistic view. This is a shot of the DJI 04 Air unit and the iNav overlay. If you're not familiar with iNav, it is a great flight controller system that's available for this type of purpose. And as you can see, it's got a lot of data on there. Artificial horizon, speed. It is flown with GPS to give you this flight data. You can see the amperage and the power requirements on the lower left, the number of satellites on the upper left, signal quality on the upper right, and really it comes down to the HUD if you're going to be doing FPV like this. But let me tell you, it is challenging. You really can't see the runway in front of you if you want to try and land this bird. You really got to watch for the vertical climb and vertical speed. And as you can see on the right side of the HUD, it gives you a fairly accurate readout of what your vertical speed is. And I have used that in the past, but to be quite honest, I landed this under line of sight because I really didn't want to crash my aircraft. but once you get up, and that is typically what I do, is I'll launch and retrieve or land in a line of sight mode. And then when I have a spotter, I will put the goggles on and fly around with it. I don't have anyone at the club to fly with, dogfight style, so if you want to come out to Beaumont Radio Control Club, come on out. I'd love to get in the air with you. We're in Southeast Texas here. Just drop me a note. Here's another shot with the flaps coming down and the deployment of the gear. My one criticism of the aircraft's construction is those wheel fairings do get caught on the grass, and in full transparency, I will show you what happens. Granted, my landing was a little bit sloppy. I probably came in a little too hard, and the grass was a little too high, and you'll see the net result. But she is not difficult to land. She is very sporty. I found that it's great if you have a little bit of headwind, but if you don't, you need to come in a little bit hot with plenty of wind under your wings. You definitely don't want to float her in. So here we are on final. And as I said, not butter at all. Gonk. And there you go. Both fairings got torn up, but they were easily repaired. So about 60% left in the battery with the Turnigy 6S's. Here's some statistics for our flight. Just another aspect of iNav that I love. And there you have it. The Avios Supermarine Spitfire. What an amazing plane. A little frustrating to build, I have to say. We'll get into that in the build here following this section. but totally worth it at the end. Being a complex build, I would not recommend it for a new guy unless you had some help. It'd be a great father and son project with some experience. But 5 out of 5 all the way. If I could give it 6 out of 5, I would. This thing is so much fun. It's literally all I've been flying for the last couple weeks. So hey, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Hobbyking, for providing this model for us to review. Thank you for trusting us. We appreciate the likes and subscribes. So keep us in mind. That really helps out the channel. We want to keep delivering content to you, and believe it or not, that small effort really helps. So thanks for tuning in, and hang around for the unbox if you'd like. All right, as usual, this aircraft, as one of the Avios line, came very well packaged. As you can see, it comes with a pretty substantial goodie bag with the leads and the scale fittings, all properly painted and well packaged. No damage at all on this one. I have seen a few planes come in that had manufacturing defects on them, but every time I've had a problem, Hobbyking has been very quick to respond. Here are the decals, as Stuart calls them, the decals here in the States. And the wings were amazingly well packaged. I don't know how they get them all into these boxes here. It's amazing. But as usual, it's always a good idea to check everything when it arrives, make sure that everything is functional. I love how much of this is pre-installed. That is definitely appreciated. Might have been nice, Hobbyking, to have the push rods and connectors on there. Not a showstopper, of course. Easy to do, didn't take long. But nonetheless, those are always good to see. For the horizontal stabilizer, those are pinch foam, I believe, with some hinges installed as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, they're in there. But we still like to add a little bit of hot glue there underneath them to make them last a little bit longer. Here's a good shot of the fuselage. You can see tape covering the really cool LED on the back of the plane. I'm pretty sure that's a scale requirement to match the plane itself. Be careful with that canopy sliding. It's a little bit dicey, but once you move it back and forth a few times, it does work really well. And then with the battery cover, a nice little detail there for Avios. Plenty of room to install your equipment. I found the battery had to be all the way forward to get the CG just right. Actually added a little extra weight myself. So there you have it. There's the fuselage. And the rudder. Be very careful with this because it does have a wire connection there. Be careful you don't damage those. It's a little bit tricky to put those together, but certainly not a problem with a good pair of forceps. The decals. So I didn't have any trouble with the main ones. Take your time, put them on right. They do respond well to a little bit of heat. I ended up using not only the friction from my fingers, but a heating pad on the lowest setting. Actually set them very nicely at just the right temperature. So if you have one, try that once you get them on. I did not like the decals for the details. I thought that they were not clear enough to look good. I did not put them in, like the gas tank label, for example, and some of the other details have this kind of opaque decal material around them, which were problematic. So you need to work on that, Hobbyking. Little trouble with one of the screws going in the horizontal stabilizer. I ended up putting some glue in there just to hold it better. And here's a shot of us putting that last lead on the LED on the rudder. Not terribly difficult. I mean, these aspects of a build are to be expected and no trouble at all, other than what I've already mentioned. So pretty standard stuff. Make sure you check all your control surfaces, that the throws are right and the servos are adjusted. Definitely want to follow the guidelines in the book, and we did follow them by the book and got really good results. So stick to those unless you've got a damn good reason to change them. All of those throws are spot on. We of course test all our servos. We like to run everything 60 times, make sure everything's good. Sounds good too, because that's an indicator of a failing servo. But you know what? Putting this thing together right up until the wiring, no problem at all. If you have any questions on how this goes together, feel free to drop me a line. I'd be more than happy to help you out. You can see it's got some nice covers that go over, makes it nice and fair. Here are the control surfaces throws, 10 to 15 on the ailerons, 30 to 40 on the rudder, 10 to 20 on the elevator. Flaps to your liking. Now, this is where I had a big problem. The wiring is somewhat frustrating. I had to use 3 or 4 of my own wire splitters to get things to work with my flight controller. There is a very nice junction box in there provided by Hobbyking to make your connection easier, probably to a Spectrum, but you definitely want to make sure you've got a few extra cables to use on this if you're going to go FPV like I did. You really want to focus on good cable management. I know I could have done better, but I did make it work. It was out of line of sight of the FPV, so that was fine by me. So there you have it. Once you got together, totally worth it. It's excellent to spend the time to do things right, and on this one, you have to. Very impressive plane, super fun to have as my primary warbird now from the World War II era. It's not my Tucano, of course, you guys know I love that, but this is a great plane. So thanks for tuning in. I hope this is of value to you. I enjoy making them. We get lots of views, and I hope it's of value to you. So, like I said, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day no matter what, and God bless. Take care.